Today we're going to look at the Nuna Triv LX, a larger wheeled version of the Triv Next, which has so far proven itself to be a pretty useful stroller for parents with a heavily car-based lifestyle. So let's get started then, going over the Triv LX's advantages and disadvantages in terms of child comfort, ease of use, performance and mechanics, while also exploring how it differs from the Next version, and ending with a discussion of which uses and lifestyles it may suit, as well as whether we feel it's worth its price. And beginning with some stats, the LX clocks in at 10 kilos and folds down to 42 by 58 by 68.5 centimeters with the seat attached. It can carry 22 kilos in the seat and 10 in the underslung shopping basket. When it comes to child comfort, the LX's seat is adjustable between a nicely upright position and a newborn acceptable near flat recline, while size-wise, it has an inside width of 31 centimeters, a length for the sitting surface of 96, determined by adding up the lengths of the backboard, baseboard, and leg rest, and a total longer length of 104 when folding down the leg rest and using the front frame mounted footrest. These are decent measurements overall, though I would note that while the backboard is on the longer side, 52 centimeters, the canopy is flush with the seat back, which may make headroom a bit tight anyway for taller toddlers. As far as other aspects of the seat are concerned, the LX's textiles are premium feeling and well padded. There's ventilation both in the canopy as well as via a large mesh window in the seat back beneath a removable liner, and the harness is easy to use with no rethread shoulder straps and a magnetic buckle. With regards to sun coverage, like other versions of the Triv, the LX's canopy really only provides decent coverage when extended, and even here, it's worth noting that there are uncoverable mesh panels in the extended section that will still let light in, and also that, when the seat is fully reclined, the canopy may be a bit insufficient for newborns. For the newborn period, in addition to just using the seat, the LX comes with post adapters that are compatible with car seats from a variety of brands, and the model can also connect both the carry and little bassinets, as well as coming with its own bassinet if you buy a package deal like we did, where, if you'd like to know more about the dedicated LX bassinet, we'll be putting out a separate review for it soon. Moving on to parent comfort, the LX's handle is adjustable between 98 and 109 centimeters in height, while the shopping basket is decently sized and easy to access due to its wide entry point. With regards to folding, the LX has the same super easy setup as the other versions of the Triv, involving only flipping the seat forwards and yanking up on the central strap to fold the model down to a self-standing package that's easy to carry by that same strap. The LX can be folded with the seat in either facing, though I would note that it's a little more compact when the seat is reversed as opposed to facing forwards. Versus the basic Triv and Triv Next, those larger wheels do make the folded dimensions a bit thicker, and while the model doesn't feel too much heavier to carry, it is possible that the larger size here may have an impact when traveling on whether the LX will be accepted for gate checking with some airlines. As far as the feel of using the LX goes, while the chassis isn't loose in its connection points right out of the box, like the Triv Next, which has a nearly identical chassis design, that combination of being relatively full-sized but still lighter weight makes the LX feel pretty fragile, with a propensity to bend and strain quite a bit when steering or curb popping, especially when used with an older child. At the same time, the LX's wheels are quite large, 11.5 inches in the back and 8 in the front, and suspension is also nicely noticeable, which allows the model to make it over stuff like harder cobblestones or traverse off-road conditions that one would normally need a heavier and more durable model for. And while this can be a positive thing if you just need this ability occasionally for shorter periods, it's important to note that overdoing use in such conditions, in my opinion, is likely to lead to rapid loosening of the chassis. Alright, let's move on to the mechanics of the Triv LX then, starting off with the handle, the folding system, and the general structure of the chassis, where overall, the LX has simple mechanisms unlikely to develop many internal problems, with the handle extension functioning via a basic telescopic wire and pin setup, and the folding mechanism being locally activated by that central strap, which removes the need for the additional wires that many models use to bring the folding buttons up to the handle. As far as the larger structure of the chassis is concerned, the LX has acceptable cross support lower down, though the model's somewhat skinny handle arms are likely to loosen in their connection to the central hubs over time, which can make the model feel pretty rickety, and is the reason why I've always found the Triv in all its versions better suited to the less intensive use of car-based lifestyles, rather than for parents who tend to get around all day on foot. Moving down to the rear frame, there are again those large wheels and noticeable suspension, which are nice when you need it, though the fact that the wheel hubs protrude down on skinny legs below the rear crossbar does make for potential braking points if one were to overuse the model in off-road conditions. As far as the brakes are concerned, the LX has simplified away from the ballpoint setup on the Triv Next, but the system still involves a long wire without an adjustment screw, which can potentially mean headaches down the road if rust or grit get into the system, since it won't be easy to adjust for changes in tension. As far as the wheels are concerned, they sit tightly in their housings right out of the box, but I can't see any added reinforcement here versus the Triv Next to account for the larger wheel size, which will put more pressure on those housings when steering. Otherwise, the wheels themselves are strong with relation to the rims and bearings, and the tires are made of a durable rubber and are unlikely to wear down too quickly. Looking lastly at the front frame, the larger wheels here versus other versions of the Triv will make it easier to negotiate obstacles, such as rougher cobblestones or uneven pavement, and there's decent suspension built into the forks. The swivel locks are of a strong design, which has shown itself to hold up well on other Nuna models, and the connection between the front forks and the front frame is also well done, designed to prevent wobbling problems down the road as a result of tight shafts for the axles and soft rubber pads that mitigate the effects of vibrations. So, should you get the Triv LX then? It really depends on how you view and plan to use the model, in my opinion, where those extra large sized wheels are likely to appeal to people who live in pretty rough conditions, while the lighter weight will appeal to everybody, and versus the majority of other, somewhat heavier but similarly terrain capable models out there, the Triv LX must be viewed as too weak in my opinion, certainly for its high price. That being said, however, if one were to use it for lighter in and out of the trunk use, needing only those larger wheels for limited purposes like snow in the winter or occasional off-road strolls, then, like the Triv Next, the LX still has a good chance of holding up okay over time, and that weaker structure can be viewed as balanced out to some extent by the model's positives, such as its decent seat dimensions, lightweight, compact size, and simply built and easy-to-use folding system. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, we ask that you subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future. In addition, if you're currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page, which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle-related information. You can find it by following the link in the description. Thank you.